Alright, just getting everything ready. I think Twitch and everything's online. We can see if the ticker can actually run today. Very sad it has not been running the last couple races. We will see what we can do. Alright, so let's go. Go ahead and start the game and see what we can do. I guess we could start this. Let me turn my speakers down so not a bunch of double sounds. And let me go ahead and start my stream. So I can make sure that we are good to go. Alright, looks like we are good to go so far. I think everything is set up good. Alright, so we will be at the Auto Club Raceway today. So we're gonna go, or Speedway. So we will be doing, I guess we can turn this off. Oh, of course. Off. I think we are there. Looks like chat's working. Alright, so we are at Auto Club Speedway in California. So it should be an interesting race. We're going to be doing 70 lap pit stop frequency 2 times. Let's see. I'm going to turn down the manual strength to about 105. Most of the races, a couple cars, you know, almost every lap bounce off the wall. So we're going to turn that down a little bit to see if we can keep some of the wall or the cars off the walls. And so I think everything else is good. Yellow flag is good. And let's go ahead and get started now. We don't want to resume the race. See if the ticker registers. So it looks like so far so good. Go ahead and fast forward through here and check out the standings. Like Ward, Paul, Walker Jr., Brooks, and O'Brien are the top 5 qualifiers. But everything else is very close for Reeves here. I think I did not update one of the drivers. I just ran out of time. I think a new driver. I think it might be Jarvis' team. So, whoops. So I think Jarvis, you still have your old driver wherever he is. Who was he? I don't remember who he was. Hopefully he performs well then. Let's go ahead and get this race started.
Drivers are...
And here we go.
Drivers, start your engines.
Maybe that driver will perform well this race. Maybe he'll earn his spot back. Alright, let's watch him coming to the start and finish line to see what we can do. They're pretty far back. Before I do that, just making sure. Alright, looks like everybody started fine, so no blown engines on the pace lap, so that's definitely good. So pace car is in. And here comes the green flag, and we are green here at Auto Club Speedway. And it looks like Ward got a great push on that green flag. We take a look at some of the racing. Auto Club is definitely a very wide track to be racing at, especially that front stretch. It can definitely go 4 wide very easily. So it looks like Ward and Paul basically jumped and just basically started driving away from the main group. It looks like the 80 is right there as well. He's been running and very well these last couple of races of Brooks. We'll see if he can win his 3rd race of the season. So winning 3 races would definitely be very good for any team, really. As we see Walker Jr. in the back as well in that one. His team started very strong this year, but has fallen off a little bit. A few bad finishes as of late, so I think he's hoping for a good finish as well as his dad in the 3, as it looks like Brooks is going on the inside of Paul in that number 4 car. We'll see if he's able to get it or get past him. He does have the help of Walker Jr., but it looks like that outside line in this front stretch is much faster than that inside line, even though cars are basically using that entire track in that front stretch, which can be very dangerous, especially once you enter into the second corner or to this first and second corner, because then you need to drop back to at least 2 or at least 3 wide to be safe. We take a look at some of the cars in the back. As you can see, very wide. The track is basically almost completely used from the wall all the way to the line. So it's a very interesting track, as 3 wide is extremely common and very safe to drive in this front stretch. And 4 wide can be driven pretty safely as well. Though once you get into the corner, 4 wide can be a little bit dangerous. So we'll see if cars are going to be able to stay out of that. So we are scrolling up through a couple of drivers. It looks like Walker Sr. is in 12th position. That's definitely good for him. As we see the Ward and Paul right now pulling away from these drivers. Whereas the rest of the pack, though, they probably will be catching up once everybody gets back in. Or in line. Though it does look like Paul does want to take a look at that inside line. It looks like for the most part of most of these drivers, except for the 29 of Torres, just took that outside line. Definitely got out of where he wanted to be driving. But it was, for the most part, the top 10 were in a single file line. Although the 24 now has backed off and hopped back in line. We see Wayne King in that 20. Definitely been great finishes for the WK car, or WK Racing. They definitely have been doing very good so far. We scroll back into some of the cars that are still racing. Yeah, definitely 3 wide is definitely still very raceable here. As we're on lap 6 of 70. You see they are starting to pull away from some of these back cars. I know in most of my test races, nobody really caught up to the lapped cars unless there was an issue. But so far, there really has not been very many issues in this race. No bumping so far. There have been a few people tapping the walls on the outside, but overall, it's still racing fine. We take a look still. The Ward is still first with Paul right behind him. And it looks like the 80 of Brooks and the 1 of Walker Jr. are basically going to be linking up to try to catch him. which looks like Walker Jr. definitely pushed the 80 right up to the back of the 4, and now he's getting a run on the inside. Wasn't able to get it that turn, but he is definitely getting a run in this front stretch. So we'll definitely see if he's going to be able to pass this number 4 and give Ward in that 10 a run for his money this race, as he has led so far every lap, though we are only on lap number 9. So it looks like that lap he was not able to get that, but we'll come back and see if he's able to get past that number 4 as we take a look at some of these back cars. Here's Tyler. He's one of the newer drivers. I think he had a decent showing a couple weeks ago, maybe even last week, though he is running 36th right now. We do see up here, 4 wide going on in this front stretch, which is very common. Though that inside line just feels like it's not as fast as that outside line. As they do enter the corner, you do see them dropping back down to 3 wide. So there's definitely a lot of room on this track to drive in. We take a look in this top 15 race up here with the 14, 18 of Guerrero and the 56. I think it's O'Brien, or the 55 of O'Brien. Well, he's one of the newer drivers as well, so it's definitely good to see some of the newer drivers up front and performing well. As we take a look at the front, it does look like the 80 was not able to get past the 4, but the 1 of Walker Jr. was. So he was able to get past, and now is trying to see if he can hold that that position from the number 4. It does not look like, even with the battling, the Ward is going to be able to pull away from them, as they're both in this outside line. So you can see the 2 WK Racing teammates, the 80 and 20, are right up here in the top 5. But they're shooting for a good finish here, as the number 1 of Walker Jr. is right on that backside of Ward in that 10. As Ward looks like he jumped down to that inside line. Not sure if Jr. tapped him or not, but he did jump to that inside line, which is definitely much slower than that outside line, which could give that 1 car time to get past him. Though Ward does have some help by that 20 of Wayne King. Though Wayne King has slid back up to the top to help push Junior up in front, as Junior takes the lead from Ward. We'll definitely see if they are able to keep that going, as we are still green flag on lap 13 of 70, so definitely a clean race so far. Couple wall bumps, but other than that, no real issues, as we see Ward looks like he may be dropping a little bit more. He may have raced a little too hard on those tires, and now they are starting to show their wear, as it looks like Wayne King in that 20 is going to be able to pass him. Though it doesn't look like King thought about just keeping that outside line, though he's still on that outside line, seeing if he's going to try to take that lead from Junior. Though Junior does have the help of the 10, as the 10 does take that turn a little bit too wide, it looks. So he wasn't able to help the 1, though Walker Jr. was able to hold off King, at least that lap. While we take a look at some of these back races. So not too much going on. For the most part, people are staying where they are. They're definitely taking up that entire track. But for the most part, they're just moving up and then back down throughout the lap. We take a look at some of the top 10 racing here. So Emerson in that 84 definitely wants a good showing, as he has not had the greatest season so far. He's been involved in a couple of wrecks, but he has had a decent showing last week, and hopefully he is going to be able to have a good showing this week. He is in 16th, so definitely a top 20 position would be good for him. So we take a look. Looks like that 80 is still falling a little bit back as he's in, what, 9th position. We'll definitely keep an eye on him as it does not look like he's keeping the speed too much. Though the 55 also looks like he's off the pace too, as the 44 almost bumps into him trying to pass him. May have had to let off that gas a little bit earlier than he wanted to, as Guerrero is now diving straight to that line into the turn. They were 4 wide, but dropped back down to 2. So nobody's really pushing it right now, as we have still a ton of time left. We take a look at the leader as Walker Jr. It looks like Ward has dropped a couple of positions down, as there's actually a big group that is trying to pass him as Ward does bump the wall a little bit. Definitely something we have to keep an eye on in this race, as if you get pushed to the outside of the track, it's very easy to get pulled into that outside wall, especially when you're going 4 wide entering into the corners. As we see a very wide amount of cars right here, so definitely anything happens, there's a lot of cars right behind you going over 200 miles an hour. We take a look, looks like Paul in that 4 is trying to get his 2nd place position back from King, as it looks like he is able to get it. Though Walker Jr. right now is still leading, and really nobody else around him to challenge him right now. So we'll definitely keep an eye on him, see if he's able to keep that position, as this main group right here, what looks like probably about 20 cars are just vying for a top, even a top, I think 5 position. So any of these cars right here in this front or this main pack can finish in the top 10 very easily. And of course, with them all driving so close to each other, at any time any of these drivers could crash and basically end the day for almost half the field, as we see a very wide front stretch. It's going 3 to 4 wide. Yeah, the ticker for some reason is not working. I'll probably turn that off until I can figure out what's wrong with it. It was working at the start of the race, but then it just goes out. As we just see, Wayne King at least had that second place position back from Paul, and Paul gains it back actually very quickly, and is actually looking on that inside line of Walker Jr., who's really been leading most of this race after Ward dropped back. As Paul now is starting to inch his way up to that corner. Definitely wants to stay. Walker Jr. wants to keep that 4 away from that back corner of his car. As we see 4 earlier in the season, definitely is not scared to bump somebody out of the way. It looks like Wayne King in that 20 is also trying to get that position back. And there's still a ton of time to go. Really, anybody in this main pack has a chance to win this race. Pit stops is definitely going to be a major factor in this. We take a look at this backpack right here. Overall, a little bit of racing, but they're definitely falling off the main group of cars. Take a look at this main pack here at the front. It is starting to slowly spread out. Yeah, as time goes on, this group right here is starting to spread out a little bit over every lap. And it looks like Walker Jr. has decided to take a pit stop. Looks like he is the only one, so he's going to definitely be on a different pit schedule than most of the other cars. So we'll see if that's going to help or hurt him during this race. As you see 33, Weber trying to get past that 8, but it doesn't look like he's going to. Well, he probably is, because half those cars are going into the pits. And this is where it can get very dangerous. Here in the pits. So does it look like, for the most part, most of these drivers, keep an eye on a few of these guys. It looks like for the most part everybody's gotten in here clean, no issues. As we see this first group of pit goers getting their new car or new tires on. Does feel like Ward and Paul definitely were much slower in that. May have had to fix a little bit of damage. Yeah, as Ward definitely took a lot of time in that pit stop. We see a second group as well. Yeah, no issues there. So we watch these last cars catch back or get back up to speed. Looks like Weber decided to stay out a little bit longer than most of the other cars, and is now starting to go into the pits, as we'll see if Walker Jr. is going to be able to come back and get back to the lead position. As now, for the most part, it looks like cars are probably going to be spread out throughout the track, so it could make racing a little bit different, and maybe a little bit more difficult for some of these cars to move into the starting or into the lead position. As everything still says Weber in the lead. Looks like Yates in that 25 is working on Williams in that 5. Yates still hasn't accepted any of the sponsorship options, but definitely keep an eye on him. And for the most part, everybody has pitted. A few lapped cars. As we scroll up to see, at least for right now, looks like Weber, I believe he's still in the lead. We'll see once they pass this start and finish line. Looks like he is in second place. Yeah, looks like Walker Jr. was able to get back into the lead with King right behind him, and then Bishop looks like he moved up a decent amount. No cars out, and everybody's within about 15 seconds of each other, so still decently close racing. Yeah, it looks like maybe the big loser will be Ward, who was on the pole for this race, but now is sitting at 39th. So definitely not what he wanted to see. So we'll see if he's going to be able to move his way back up. As we see that 14 trying to split the 56 to 68. It doesn't look like he had the run, but he was able to finish getting past the 68. So we take a look at the top 15. See if the 8 of Haas can get past the 29 fully. I mean, he doesn't have the help of the 7, as the 7 is probably pulling the 29. And if the 8 of Haas doesn't get back in line, yep, as he does, the 21 was right there, ready to try to pass him. We see this top 10 battle going on. The 6 looks like he took that turn extremely wide, leaving room for everybody. As he's getting bouncing into the wall. took that turn way too high and ended up paying for it by bouncing on the wall a little bit. At least he was able to stay going straight. So definitely not what he wanted to see, but we'll have to keep an eye on him. This does look like the leader of Walker Jr. is decently far away from them. So they still have a lot of time to stay on the lead lap. I mean, my stream right now is still running because I have it streaming on my phone. Yeah, let's keep an eye on that just to make sure everything is racing or everything is good. I'm gonna move that so that it is, at least I can see it while I'm looking at my screen as well. We take a look, see if we can see. There is a Walker Jr. We can take a look at him. That doesn't look like anybody's really in front of him at all. So definitely good for him. He's on lap 33, almost halfway through. There is nobody around. We take a look in the cockpit, watching him drive. So he has basically smooth sailing right now. There may be one more pit stop on this race, so we will definitely see what he is able to do, if he's able to keep the lead or if he's going to end up having a bad pit stop and get pushed back. Though it does look like the 20 and the 12, though it looks like the 12 looked like he was going to go for the outside, are slowly catching him. So this could be something we'll have to keep an eye on, as it does look like they are slowly but surely catching the one. It definitely helps to have a drafting partner that Wayne King has right now. As we watch Walker Jr. Racing on this back stretch. So definitely been a very clean race, no issues. Definitely a ton of good racing, especially in the early part. With multiple 3 and 4 wide racing. There you see a ton more racing going on here in these top 10 races. We see Barker in that bright colored 51 trying to take the 80s position, trying to get a top 5 position. We'll see if he's able to finish passing him. Doesn't look like he's going to get any help from that 6, as the 6 is looking to split between the 24 and 51, though Barker does cut up right in front of the 6. So that basically ended that and lets the 6 basically push him to see if he's able to get past the 80. But it looks like he may have to wait another lap at least for that. As we take a look back at the number 1 leading. So it does look like the 20 is slowly catching him. He definitely has enough time to catch him if he's going to. So he's cutting 1 or 2 car lengths every lap. It still does not look like they will catch up to this backpack. But we will definitely keep an eye on that, as there's some battling going on. For the most part, just for points. As most of these guys in this back are definitely not getting paid too much money, especially here in ARCA. So we see the 05 trying to get past this 90, though he does have that slow 22 in front of him. I know that 22, I think Martinez hasn't had the greatest season either. But he's definitely out there trying to get a couple more points. We scroll up and see this battle. It looks like we do see the 4 of Felix back in 25th, so it doesn't look like he had the greatest pit stop either, though it doesn't look like he's trying to work his way back up to the lead. as we're going 4 wide into this front stretch, and they just back down to 3 wide once they hit this corner. Which looks like Paul in that 4 definitely got the best run out of that, though. The 57 and the 7 are right there passing him again. And as we see Emerson as well, definitely not what you want to see, keep continuously falling backwards. And then we see basically top 15 battle going on here. This is where most cars want to be, near the front. Definitely not close to the leaders, but definitely in the front for a good position battle and hopefully a good place for a decent amount of points. Because definitely want to get, or try to get to that driver championship to get that definite boost in money. As we do see Bishop in the 12 did pass the 20, and they have basically caught up to Walker Jr. in that number 1 car. And then Adams basically has been grabbing that tail end of that draft and has been slowly but surely catching up to the group as well. So it looks like Adams is exactly where he wants to be. And it looks like the 12 now has finally caught up enough to give Junior in that 1 car a little bit of a battle as he's taking a look at that inside lane. He was not able to get at that lap on that 40, we're on that 42 of 70. Left room in for that 20 to try to get to the outside of him, though that inside line does feel like it's much better in those corners. They still have a decent lead on that main pack, so it's definitely good for them. They definitely have time to sort themselves out. Though as they continue, as 12 and 20 continue to battle, that 1 is getting a chance to pull away. It looks like Adams is content on following that 20. Maybe trying to see, as he looks like he's bouncing down. I think he's going to try to go into the inside of both of them at some point. Though he is slowly pushing that 12 past the 1. We'll see if the 1 is going to get, looks like the 1 is getting a good run out of that corner. But that 12 is definitely right there with the help of the 23 of Adams. And then the 20 of Walker Jr. or of Wayne King is definitely pushing the 1, which is keeping him in front of this tandem of Bishop and Adams. It's been about a lap that they have been battling. It looks like Adams has decided he wants to try to get to the inside of Bishop. Definitely not getting at that turn, but that's definitely leaving Bishop and Walker to basically fend for themselves on this battle. It looks like the Walker Jr. in that 1 is going to keep that position. So Bishop is right there, and then Adams is right there. So Adams finishes passing Wayne King in that 20. And we'll see, is the 12 going to lead that lap? That's definitely close. Seeing if somebody's going to take that leadership position. Does look like, yeah, the 12 Bishop definitely is past him, and Walker Jr. is stuck on that outside line. Definitely no help from 20 exiting that corner, but Walker Jr. definitely is very fast exiting corners, as Adams has decided he's going to take the inside line and make it 3 wide for the lead. Right now, Walker Jr. does have help by the 20, but is not going to be able to use that, as it looks like he did get into the gas a little bit too slow exiting that corner. And that caused Wayne King in that 20 to have to back or to drop down and pass him as well. So no matter of about half a lap, it looks like Walker Jr. dropped from 1st to 4th. Though it does look like he is going to pass Wayne King and Looks like he's going decently fast enough, so he's going to pass Adams as well, though they are 3 wide for second place. So it does look like maybe there are going to be some pit stops here. Yep, it's Wayne King and Bishop are both going to take a pit stop this week, this time, and Adams is actually going to lead a lap. Yeah, that second group is definitely catching them, and it is also spreading apart as well. As you can see, they're slowly starting to form about 2 or 3 different packs. So this lap, I suspect at least Adams might be coming in, though I thought that Walker Jr. took a very early pit stop last time, so he's definitely got much older tires than this 23 car does. It does look like both of them are going to take the pit stop at the same time at 47 of 70 laps. So there may actually be even another pit stop going on in this race. So it does look like the main group here is going to come in. Most of the leaders. So we'll definitely see, can Ward, it does look like he did get back up to 31st. Looks like he did make up a little bit of ground. But we'll see, is he going to be able to do a decent pit stop or not? So yeah, definitely the pit stops are definitely going to cause the cars probably to spread out a little bit more. We do see Adams coming out very quickly in that pit stop. And then Walker Jr. is coming out, so looks like maybe second place. But we'll definitely see how the pit stops are going to go. So it looks like, I mean, that was much faster than his previous pit stop, but still much slower than most other cars. So definitely have to keep an eye on him. As we see multiple cars all over the track now. Definitely gonna have to keep an eye on some of them, as some of these cars really do dive into the pits. And if there's a car that's not going to the pits right below them, it can definitely cause issues. But so far it's been a very clean race. So we're over halfway done. As we scroll around, cars are slowly starting to sort themselves out. As those leaders are coming in, probably have new leaders coming up. Like Adams is about 7th place maybe. Not sure where Walker Jr. is. There's definitely a battle going on here for 20th or 30th, depending on where those pit stops came in. As we try to find first place, which is Bishop. We scroll back, it looks like Walker Jr. came back out in 7th position, so definitely not the greatest pit stop by that number 1, but definitely has time to catch up, as I know some of these cars, like the 31 Sheets, definitely is not one of the fastest cars. So he definitely has time to catch up to them. As again, Ward coming back out basically in last place. So definitely not what he wanted to see. As it looks like most cars are starting to stretch out. You can take a look, see if anybody's a lap down. Still nobody lap down, but yeah, the end figure in that 90 is starting to definitely fall back and may end up getting lapped. So you see a battle right here for 15th position. between the 4 of Paul 17 and the 54 of Cargo. Looked like it could have gotten a little bit ugly, but they were able to stay out of each other. As we see, Walker Jr. is moving up rather quickly. He has passed the 31 Sheets and now is working on that 80 of Brooks, who definitely is having a very good season. He's definitely moving very quickly up the rankings, as he basically is a second driver for WK Racing, so he's not raced in every single race, but definitely is moving up with those 2 wins. I think he has at least 1 or 2 top 5s and top 10s. So we do see Walker Jr. now starting to move his way back up. Though he did get passed by the 31 of Sheets with the help of the 80 car, basically pulling the 31 past him. I'm sure we are not going to see the end of him, as Bishop right now is in first place in this number 12 car. Does look like the 20 is catching him slowly but surely. I think probably a lot quicker than he was that number 1 car. Take a look at some of these end packs. This pack is definitely a good race going on right here for a top 30 position. So decent number of new drivers and a couple old drivers. So yeah, seeing the number 18 of Guerrero, definitely interesting to see in the back the last couple of races. And then we have a top 25 battle going on here with Weber in that 33, the 99 in this 15 of Grubb, and then Walker Jr. in that 3 car. And then Paul again in 18th position. He was up there at the beginning of the race in second place. Does not look like he's probably going to finish out this race maybe in the top 20 position. As we see, Walker Jr. still working on these 2 cars, the 31 and the 80, so 31 of Sheets. Maybe he'll try to basically push Sheets past the 80 of Brooks and try to pass him to the 11 of J. King is right there, right behind him. So maybe that 31 car is running a little too slow. It does look like that one may be able to get past the 31 of Sheets, though Sheets does have a little bit of help by the 11. As the 11 now just flies past the 1 of Walker Jr., so the 11 is definitely catching up very quickly. We'll see if he's able to hold that position, but he did pass that 31 of Sheets and Walker Jr. pretty quickly, as Sheets does look like he got his position back from the 11, and the 1 is starting to try to get pushing back. So maybe the 11 probably just got a decent run out of that corner. So we see the 23 of Adams has taken second place and is now has his eyes on that 12 car. So we're on almost lap 60, so we got about 10 laps to go. So definitely a lot of time, though. We do have a car Enfinger just sitting in the middle of the track. No caution yet. Not sure if there's going to be a caution for that. But definitely interesting to see a car just sitting in the middle of the track, or in the middle of the apron, and no caution. And it does look like he probably got a ride back to the his pit stall, but definitely interesting to see what was going on with him. As we see a pretty good battle for the top 20, top 25. With the 9 of Jarvie, the 7 of Srivastava, and the 33 of Weber. And then along with Walker Sr. And everybody looks like they are starting to spread out for this front or back stretch. And now we see Pitch and Reeves in that 24 battling it out for in 11th position. It does look like Pitch may have gotten that one for now. As now looks like Adams has finally caught up to Bishop in that 12 car. So we do have about 9 laps to go, so he has plenty of time to get past him. And he is right on that bumper trying to pick a time when he's going to try to pass that 12. Looks like right now he's going to try going to the inside very quickly and seeing if he's going to be able to complete that pass. At least not that lap. Looks like the 12 led that lap. But the 23 is right there. As they battle on, it looks like maybe the 20 is starting to catch up as well, but for right now it is just the battle between these two. Doesn't look like the 23 of Adams was able to complete that pass. He may have to wait for the 20 to catch up and maybe give a little bit of help. Though it does look like the 23 does get decent runs in the corners, at least entering the corner. So we're about to hit lap 63 of 70. So Bishop is holding his own against the 23 car of Adams. The 20 of King is slowly catching up to them. Looks like the 12 got a very good run out of that corner and put at least two car lengths between him and 23. But definitely you can catch up 1 or 2 car lengths a lap very easily, and if you get a run, you could have to get right next to him. So right now it looks like the 16 or the 12 of Bishop is definitely leading this race and may have a chance to win, I think, his first race of the year. Of course, that 23 car is not going to make it easy for him, as the 23 is right there on his back bumper once again, and now he's going to try the outside line. Definitely did not look like that worked at all. So he's going to have to definitely think about what he's going to do, as that outside line definitely is not going to work, and that inside line definitely was not working. That main pack in the back is also starting to catch up to them. We have about 5 laps to go. He has plenty of time to work to get past him, as he's thinking about the outside line in this back stretch, which may work, but that back outside line definitely will not work in the corners, as he takes an inside lane on the 12, as they are now battling for first place with only about 5 laps remaining. We're about to drop down to 4 here, as it looks like Adams did lead that lap. We'll see if he's able to fully complete this pass and see if Bishop in that 12 is going to. It looks like he completed that turn, but I believe Bishop in that 12 gets a very good run outside of the corners, and the 23 is leaving that outside lane and that backstretch wide open. So it does look like he finally was able to fully complete that pass, and now it is up to Bishop in that 12 to see if he's going to be able to get past that 23 car. I don't believe there are the lap car. I don't think any lap cars are going to come to help slow down that 23, and that main pack in the back is definitely not going to catch up to them, as it does look like Bishop in that 12 got a decent run on that race or that turn. Maybe getting a little bit of help from that 20. Though I think the 12 is helping that 20 way more than he could help that 12. Well, Bishop is definitely a little bit more reserved in his racing, as the 23 basically rode the back of Bishop for at least a lap before he decided to try to make a turn, and then Bishop right here is having at least a half a car length between them two. So that buffer may be hurting him, as he is running out of time to see if he can get past this 23 car. Is that space now about 3 car lengths, at least in that backstretch. They enter the corner. The 12 cuts it down to about maybe a car and a half. As we get to lap 79 or 69. Because right now the 23 looks like he may be able to hold this off, as he still has a ton of space between that 12 car. It's like Wayne King is slowly catching him, but probably not in the time that they have left. So overall, definitely a clean race. So far, no real issues at all. I know in testing there were a couple of issues, but no wrecks now, as we are on the last lap. Does look like Bishop is there, but the Bishop is there in that 12 car. Doesn't look like that 20 car is going to be a factor, but the 12 definitely, if he gets a good run, can make this a race. Though it doesn't look like he's going to be able to. Actually, he is. He's going to make it run for it as he gets to the inside lane of the 23. Is he going to be able to get past him? It doesn't look like it, as it looks like the 23 wins the race in front of the 12 of Bishop, who definitely made it a race in that last corner. So definitely a good race there. You see, looks like no extra stuff going on at the end of the race. That's definitely good. But yeah, it looks like Adams wins by 0.117. So definitely good race. Bishop came in and tried to steal the win, but wasn't able to fully complete that pass of the 23 of Adams. So Bishop finished second, King third, Cargo fourth, Pitch in fifth. Another top 10 or top 5 finish for Pitch. Reeves in the 24 got a 6th place finish. Sheet 7th, Walker Jr. 8th. Definitely not what he wanted to see, as he was leading a ton of laps there. And then we can scroll down to see the end of the track. Yeah, Ward, who finished first, or who started first, ends up dropping all the way to 38. So there may have been something wrong with his car. So Enfinger, I'm not sure what happened with him. 5 laps down. Looked like maybe he just stalled. And then Haas in that 8 car finished last place of the main cars that didn't stall out. So definitely a good race, very close race. I mean, Haas finished 13 seconds back, so still definitely a good race there. Well, 13. We'll save that, because that definitely does freeze up a bit. So let's see. What time is it? Okay, it is midnight actually on my end. So I think I have to jump off. So thank you so much for joining me. I'll try to do a Carnage event probably. What day is tomorrow? Thursday. Maybe Friday night we'll do something. Friday night or Saturday night we'll do something with like multiple events, the main race, and then 2 or 3 Carnage events, just to see what we can do. See if we're going to find any fun tracks. And if you want to drop any tracks in the Discord or in the comments, definitely do that. But yeah, definitely thank you for joining me on race number 13. Congratulations to Adams winning his first race of the season. And thank you everybody else for joining the stream as well. I will see you later, and have a good rest of the night.